Don Larson, a man whose passion led him to all things aviation. A man whose devotion has shaped him to be an invaluable ambassador, is this year's inductee into North Dakota's Aviation Hall of Fame. Aviation captured Don's heart and mind when he was a young North Dakota boy looking up at the big skies, watching passing aircraft and wondering,
I was always interested whenever I was working out on the farm. It was whenever I'd hear an airplane go over, I'd be interested in what it was and what it was doing and so on and so forth. So from that point on, I really became interested in aviation. I got into high school and then on into college when I started doing some of my flying. Just the fact that you can get off the ground and get up into the blue sky and you're in control and you can get away from everything else is what really intrigued me. Got my private license and I went on and got my commercial license and my instrument rating, and I started doing some commercial flying for Peach Flying Service here in Minot. In my spare time, I still had a full-time job that I was working at that time, and weekends, evenings, I would do some charter work and this sort of thing for the flying service.
While logging hundreds of hours in the air and volunteering equal hours on the ground, Don maintained his full-time position as president of the Town and Country Credit Union, both arenas highlighting his various talents and admirable leadership skills.
So he's not, I guess, what I would call a full-time aviator, but I don't know many people that have spent much more time in aviation than he has. He's used all of his spare time and to make aviation a hobby that's been a pretty productive hobby.
He's been involved in just about every facet of aviation, as a pilot, as a builder, as a communicator, as a proponent, as a cheerleader of just every aspect. And he's willing to help in every one of those things and goes out of his way to be involved in that. And as you would think, as people get older, they'd want to slow down a little bit, and he seems to just keep taking a bigger bite of the apple on that deal. His wisdom, his experience, his knowledge, I think has been tremendously helpful for the state of North Dakota and aviation generally.
I think one of the big things with Don is he has involvement in a lot of different organizations, not just in the aviation community, but by doing that, he's been able to spread the aviation community into the entire community. He's a big part of the Lions Club locally and many different service organizations. So he takes the flying end of our world to the non-flying part of the community and helps promote it.
His personality is such that he can get along with other people, other ventures, venues. He has taken on a lot of tasks that probably others wouldn't. So I highly respect his leadership.
It's one thing to be out there and doing these things for yourself. That isn't what he's about. He's doing them not only because he loves it personally, but he's trying to share all those things with everybody he comes in contact with. And to me, that's extraordinary.
Don is connected to the community of aviation in many ways, by serving on various committees, by advising and planning the construction of Minot's new airport terminal, by producing air shows for Minot and North Dakota's centennial. But none of these contributions mean more to Don than his role of one of the founders of the Dakota Territory Air Museum.
My favorite part has been the work here at and development of the Dakota Territory Air Museum. It's been exciting. It's been really fun to work with people to help get something done as far as the museum is concerned. It's really been a joint effort for a lot of people.
He's been able to reach out to the community and bring growth to the museum, and thus bring growth to the history of aviation and our whole mission and our whole purpose.
To help develop something like this that people can enjoy, and you see young people, young kids come in, and it creates an education thing for them, and that's really been gratifying for me. What we want to portray to the young people is what made our country great. And I think aviation was a big part, was a huge part of World War II and that era.
Teaching people of all ages about the history and the sacrifices of not only the aircraft but the people themselves who've helped keep our country free and make it free. Every one of the airplanes has a story, but there are tremendous stories from the people who flew them and why they flew them.
Don's legacy is tightly woven with strands that point to our history and pave the way to our future, a future with roots in educational programs.
And the excitement has really grown with our ACE and our PACE programs, which are focused on kids. Kids camps that we have here to teach about not only the history of aviation, but also the science of aviation.
Bringing in kids, children of all ages to learn about aviation, but to also learn about life. You know, Don has been a big part of that.
With contagious enthusiasm and passion for all things aviation, Don's character and his work have garnered great respect from a wide community.
If you meet Don or you've met Don, you know how giving he is, or of his time. He's willing to pitch in and help just about anybody or any organization in a worthwhile cause, and I think that personality, along with his passion for aviation, has been the reason he's been as successful as he has in doing what he's done, and is well liked in the community. The things that we look for as a leader and a role model in our state are people that are giving of their time, honest, have integrity, and are involved in aviation. And Don fits all those things to a T.
Don's irrepressible spirit and keen insight continues to touch lives. And while his impact is impossible to quantify, his many contributions to the aviation community have carved a lasting legacy. Thank you, Don, for your unwavering devotion.